Welcome, Battle Brothers. I am the Epic Narrator. Today we have a story from the 2nd edition Ork Codex. If you like this story, remember to subscribe to the channel and join the chapter, where we have much more 40k content. "Quit pushing back there," muttered Nuzzgrond, Nosebiter, boss of the Goths. On Nuzzgrond's world, I gotta think. With his grabbing pole, the runt had battered his Gretchen charges into submission. Soon, all was quiet except for the song of the jungle insects and skittering of scuttle lizards in the trees. "That's it, boss," said the runt herd. "The runt spotted him, and I thought you ought to be told." Nuzzgrond gazed down on the huge machines, leaving an impressive trail of devastation through the jungle below. They were the best humie things he had ever seen. They dwarfed the tiny-looking space marines accompanying them. Their gigantic weapon mounts hinted at truly lethal amounts of firepower. "Looks like the humies did for Ratgrab's village," muttered Nuzzgrond, the Death Skull warlord clicking the action of his bolter, then running his hand through the fine coxcomb of dyed squig. The Gretchen began to titter in a high-pitched voice. "You don't say," said Nuzzgrond. "I got eyes, haven't I? If those Gretchen make another sound, whack 'em." "Yes, boss," muttered Hef, his bodyguard and trusted drinking crony. Giving the Gretchen a ferocious glare from under the bull-horned helmet, the Gretchen shuffled their feet and looked innocently at the ground. "Those things called Titans, sir," muttered Fester, the Blood-Axe chieftain, flicking particles of pollen from his fine human-style uniform with the fingers of one suspiciously clean-looking hand. Both Nuzzgrond and Nosgrot stared at him mockingly. "Trust a zogging Blood-Axe to know about Yumi stuff," muttered Nuzzgrond, tugging at his nose ring, a sure sign he was annoyed. "'S true, sir. Titans is what those is," said Fester, sulkingly. He lashed out at the Gretchen, tugging at his sleeve, sending it tumbling. The others sniggered. "The Emperor must have got fed up with us being on his planet and sent them to give us our marching orders," said Nosgrond. The way his long jaw jutted reminded Nuzzgrond of a rippy fish. "Let him try," muttered Nuzzgrond. "This is our world now." "What we got to do then, boss?" asked Hef. "He looks too big to fight a man to hand. Taster Bolter won't do him much harm either, by the looks of him. We took this world in the War Ork, and it's Ork now, and it's gonna stay that way," said Nuzzgrond. "We're just gonna have to use strategy. First thing is to find out, bit by bit, more about what's going on. Right, where's that weird boy?" In answer to his bellows, there was a thrashing among the bushes, as two burly minders sought to force a deranged-looking orc to the fore. Nuzzgrond glared at the new arrival. The weird boy clutched his staff tightly and looked abashed. "Gonna give us a quick scan, then?" asked Nuzzgrond. The weird boy nodded tentatively. Nuzzgrond pointed to the Titan. "That's the zogging things." The weird boy stuck out his lip and scratched his ear. When he looked at the Titans, he gave an exaggerated start, leapt into the air, and fell to the ground, wrapping his arms protectively around his head and whimpering. "Go on," said Nuzzgrond encouragingly. "It won't hurt much." The weird boy continued to whine. Nuzzgrond considered having Hef whack him, then decided it probably wouldn't work. Frightened, weird boys were notoriously intractable. Nuzzgrond realised he would have to use all the cunning and powers of persuasion that had raised him to Warboss of the Goths. "Give you a squig," he said. The weird boy opened one yellowed eye and stared at him. Nuzzgrond pulled a squig from his dinner pouch and dangled it in front of his face. Nice fat squig, Nuzzgrond added, wiggling the furry, pulpy little creature appetisingly. Begging your pardon, sir, but I don't think he wants it, said Fester, tugging at the peak of his cap. Course he does, said Nuzzgrond. The weird boy reached out for it hesitantly. His hand drew closer. Nuzzgrond drew the squig away. Trance first. The weird boy sighed and nodded. He pulled himself up into a crouch and sat huddled, long arms clutched tightly around his bony knees. He rocked slowly backwards and forwards and mumbled to himself, drooling. A strange tension filled the air. Nuzzgrond felt the stillness all about them. When Fester brushed a piece of dirt from his uniform, static electricity sparked, causing him to whine and suck his fingers. Pelican flies stopped preening their wings and sat frozen in place. Nuzzgrond felt the barrel of his bolter begin to heat. He spat on it and wished that weird boy powers didn't always have such silly side effects. All the scuttle lizards danced on the branches, making curious whimpering sound. A nimbus of pale green light played around the weird boy's head. His eyes turned a deep pupilless yellow. The trickle of drool from his mouth became a river. He began to thump his right ear with his left fist. He gave a strange cry that sounded like a crackle of static.
No sign of any survivors, Princess.
The sound of the human made Nuzzgrond jump. It was an octave higher than an orc's and reminded him of a Gretchen. He gazed wearily around him, fingers playing with the butt of his holstered shotgun.
Keep your eyes peeled, Costanza. This is Ork country. Who knows how many of them there are out there?
The second voice was deeper and sounded older and much more authoritative. Nuzzgrond realised that both were coming from the throat of the weird boy. He kept his hand near his weapon. The weird boy made another hissing, crackling noise, and a different human voice sounded.
Squad Hrothgar reporting. Captain, hostiles are sighted. Possible survivors of enemy village. Moving to engage. Temper Fidelis.
This voice was cold and calm, virtually uninflicted. For a second, Nuzzgrond wondered whether they had spotted his party. Then, from the distance, came the sound of small arms fire and a howling, which sounded like a giant beast. The noise carried over the jungle and chilled Nuzzgrond's heart. Those are space wolves, sir, said Fester, chest swelling self-importantly. The blood axe loved displaying his superior knowledge. Space Marines, sir. The Emperor's finest troops, sir. Hef and Nuzzgrond exchanged interested looks. They were both thinking about the helmets they would soon collect. The weird boy gave another crackling hiss, and Nuzzgrond heard another voice, one that he recognised. It was Ratgrab's. The old monster hadn't died with his village then.
Form up, lads. Bolter's ready. Let's give those Umis a taste of zogging food. What you mean, Harry? Of course we's outnumbered. It wouldn't be much of a fight otherwise, would it? Nah, we can't run. They've got us surrounded, innit? Cloutcop, you want to hide with the Gretchen? Nah. Well, get that zogging bolter up.
Nuzzgrond realised he was hearing Ratgrab's last stand. The orcs in the village were cut off. The Space Marines were closing in for the kill. Nuzzgrond tried frantically to make out the source of the battle noise, but could see only small disturbances in the trees far to the north. He squatted down to listen, sudden interest surging through him.
Here they come. Mork's droppings. Look at those wolf pelts. Gotta get one of those. Right, lads. Fire at will. Woohoo! Eat this, Yumi. See how you zogging like it.
The sounds of the fighting intensified. Nuzzgrond saw the Titans pause, great heads scanning the source of the disturbance. Ratgrab's voice continued to emerge from the weird boy's mouth.
Steady, lads. Looks like they's gonna go hand to hand. You storm boys, watch those bushes. No, idiots, those bushes over there. See, I told you. They was using them for cover. Come on, Clout Gob, get up. You're not going to let a little flesh wound stop you, are you? What do you mean? Clout Gob's head come off. Eric? Nah, he's only kidding, you see? Oh, maybe you're right.
Nuzzgrond heard the battle roar of Ratgrab's Goths as they went hand to hand with the Marines. He wished he could see the fight. It sounded a good one. He tried to picture what was going on, but he'd always had trouble imagining things.
Zoggineck, see this Marine boy? Yeah, that's it. Here, have a bit of brute too. Now some bolter. Dakka, 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 dakka. You're right, Eric. We showed them, Eric. Eric, stop laying about, Eric. Get up. You're going to miss all the fun. How many lads left? Enough, everyone. About a dozen. Plenty. Well, get ready, boys. Looks like a full company of Umis forming up. What do you mean, Chug? What do you mean you ain't got no ammo, Chug? Take some of Eric's. He ain't got no zogging use for it anymore, has he?
The sporadic sound of gunfire stopped momentarily. The orcs waited on bated breath. Once more, the sound of distant battle reached their ears.
Here they come. Right, lads. Ready? Fire! Dakka, dakka, dakka! Here we go, here we go, here we go. Right, stop whining, chum. Get up and fight. Here we go, here we go.
The sound of fighting ceased abruptly. An empty silence settled over the grove. Nuzzgrond looked about him. Hef looked stolid and unafraid. Festus stood at attention with a parade line of Gretchen posed proudly behind him. Nuzzgrond slouched with bolter ready. All of them were quiet. Well, Ratgrab did alright, didn't he? Nuzzgrond said. The rest, including the Gretchen, nodded solemnly. Think we'll get the lads together? Set an ambush. The weird boy whimpered and made a crackling noise. From his throat, a new voice sounded.
Captain Mecklin, Librarian Vasquez here. I sense that we are under some form of psychic surveillance. A powerful, if undisciplined mind is watching us. I'm going to take steps to rectify this.
Nuzzgrond stood there, wondering what this new voice meant. There was something ominous in its tone.
Yes, I'm tracing it now. There, among those trees on the hill. Princess, bring your multi-launcher to bear on grid reference 5076.
Suddenly it dawned on Nuzzgrond what was happening. The weapon mounts of the nearest Titan was swiveling to point at them. The Imperials knew where they were, and it was somehow connected to the Weird Boy. Maybe one of the Imperium's own Weird Boys was scanning them or had established a link to Nuzzgrond. Yes, that must be it. Wake up! He bellowed, giving the Weird Boy 2 quick slaps round the face. The Weird Boy opened his eyes.
Amber 12?
Squig, said the Weird Boy.
No, not Amber 12 Squig, Princeps. It's Amber 1210, Princeps.
Squig, now!
I'm sorry, Princeps. I'll repeat that. No, I don't know what a squig is.
Wake up! Shouted Nuzzgrond. The nimbus faded from around the Weird Boy's head. Squig? The Weird Boy said excitedly. Nuzzgrond patted him on the head. Later. Now it's time to run. Leg it, lads. Follow me. They had barely started when the explosions began to fall around them. Some of the Gretchen were blown to pieces. Ahead of Nuzzgrond a tree fell. He swerved to avoid it. Overhead, a flight of pelican flies took to the air. The forest floor shook and trembled. Nuzzgrond was hard put to keep to his feet. Ahead of him, Nuzzgrond skidded down the muddy slope on his backside. A fountain of mud erupted over Nuzzgrond, throwing him to one side. He picked up his bolter and ran. At the foot of the hill, his own troops waited. "Enjoy yourself now, humies," Nuzzgrond thought, "'cause we'll be back, and we'll show you a trick or two." Thank you for listening, Battle Brothers. I am the Epic Narrator. What do you think happened to Nuzzgrond? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this story, why not give it a like? The more likes we get, perhaps I'll do some more. And while you're there, why not join the chapter as well? We've got plenty more 40k content for you. May the Emperor protect you through Nurgle's Blight.